first category is the ego. So what do we mean by the ego? Now, I'm not focusing on the ego as in just the negative side of one's personality. What I'm really focusing on is looking at the ego as the relationship between the person and the self, so the deep inner self. Now, this can manifest in different forms. So they say that we have different hats for different situations and different interactions we have with different people. So who is the real self in that situation? And the further we go from the real self, the harder it becomes to try and come back to that. And that's when we tend to have an identity crisis, or we develop the imposter syndrome and we can't really figure out who the real self is through these characters that we're playing. Where does that become a problem? Well, when there's certain parts of things in our lives that are not going the right way, the ego manifests itself as negative traits. So you might feel anger, resentment, jealousy, all these little things that will cause inner turmoil. Eventually, that's when the mental health problems start. The second part of the ego, and the more subtle ego, is when success is coming to us, how we handle ourselves then and how we see ourselves. We know this when we hear the rags to riches stories. They achieve success, they gain some sort of temporary happiness, and then they end up turning to drugs or alcohol to cope with the negative effects of that success and fame. In the East, we're mainly focusing on blunting or destroying the ego. But in the West, it seems like ego is used as a platform to show people how powerful we are.